Alright, we got another game here. Today we got Lax versus Keo. We had seen Keo earlier today. And I think Keo was playing against Rod Shoot, and then he got sneeze alert. But Keo is back with he's got that classic six. So a lot of people have been running this team with the Cinderace and King Gambit, and they've been running it to a lot of great success. Use court change, and you got the powerful enamours. And then we see Lax. I think the Lax is representing the U.S. Northeast, which very sick avatar. Sick avatar. It looked like a Pokemon master right there. Like very cool. But Lax is kind of rocking like very unique looking team. He's got Rotom Wash, which you don't really see as much right now. He also got a Sneasler on here. And, lately, we've only been really seeing the Sneasler on like the Rillaboom type teams, kind of like the Unburden. But maybe we might see like a Poison Touch one here. And then we also have Slowking, Lando. Lando has been very cool. We've seen some really cool Lando sets today. Alright, let's take a look at the battle, then we'll catch up to where they are right now. I'm a little bit late, but we'll catch up. Lax leads off with Sneasler against Baxcalibur from Keo. He brings in Slowking Galar. Sneasler is just going to go for a U-turn. Looks to be maybe like Bandit or something. Brings in Landorus. Then Obstacle for a substitute. We keep seeing a substitute Landorus come up, and then you almost gotta expect the Grass Knot at this point. You gotta expect the Grass Knot. Great Test is gonna go for an Ice Spinner onto the Landorus. The Landorus is faster. He goes for another substitute onto the Enamourus. Well, we see a Stone Edge. Enamourus goes for a Moonblast, and then right here we see a smackdown, and it smacks down Keo's Enamourus. The Enamourus switches out into Baxcalibur, and then Lax pivots out to Cinderace. Cinderace reveals the low kick and O-Ko onto the Baxcalibur. Devastating. Very devastating. He goes into the Enamourus, pivots out to Slowking, trying to get some momentum back. Rotom will then T-Wave the Slowking, and the Slowking gets off a Future Sight, and then will Chilly Reception out of the Rotom. But what does he bring in? Like, what do you even bring in right now? So you don't really got a lot of options. Looks like we've caught up, so that's very good. So he opts to go into Cinderace, maybe to get off like a U-turn back into Slowking Galar. As Lax will then Volt Switch out of the Slowking Galar, brings in the King Gambit to take in the Future Sight. And we could probably see a switch into Great Tuskegee. Lax hasn't used his Terra yet. Okay, he reveals himself to be Cobra Berry, but it's like he didn't really punish him. Like the Cobra Berry just helped you survive a turn. That Cobra Berry is probably specifically for Iron Valiant, though, when I think about it. Alright, so he brings in Cinderace here. Lax is going to be fearing like a Will-O-Wisp, a Fire move, and he goes back into the Rotom. The Rotom just heals up a little bit, and we're back to the same position. Keo's probably going to be U-turning into Slowking Galar, and Lax will probably Volt Switch. Maybe into Cinderace. There'll be some pivoting going on as he positions the Slowking. And Lax will be trying to probably position his King Gambit. Alright, Cinderace gets off a Will-O-Wisp instead. He wants to chip down the Rotom. He doesn't like the Rotom healing up all those leftovers. He gets the Volt Switch off, then goes into Cinderace. Lax realizes that this Cinderace will probably not be able to touch his own Cinderace. It's probably the bulky pivot variant, which runs Blaze and U-turn, and it doesn't even run Libero. The player's kind of really thinking about what to do here. Keo opts to get a little chip off as well as Lax. Lax is going to get a little chip off as well with his own Pyro Ball. It does 36%. So Keo is at risk of dying to another Pyro Ball if it comes out right here from Lax's Cinderace. And it's not really like he has options here. Like, he can go into Great Test, but I think this may be like a banded Cinderace. I'm not really sure, but to take out Excalibur like that, you're definitely not weak, but it is protein as well, or liver rather. And the Great Test is also at 43%, so you also got to be very wary of that. Like, you don't really have a switch in right here. So it's looking like the pressure of Lax's team is very significant. And he is in Blazed range now. I was actually very curious about that because it says 34%, but sometimes Showdown will lie to you. So you got to be very careful at that. I think when you're owning the mine, you can highlight over it and then you can see like it might be at 33.6 or something of that nature, so where Blaze would be activated, but that did significant amount more damage, and then Lax unfortunately misses his own Power Ball. So kind of that commanding lead that Lax has is going to be tested here a little bit. But what's good for him is that Sneasler is naturally faster than Cinderace. So his Sneasler is looking like a very big threat. So I think Lax is still in a big position, but Keo, he definitely gave himself some outs here. And I guess while we wait, we can look at the spreadsheet, or actually the battles back. But I think I said Keo is from US Midwest, and Lax is from US Northeast. But I'm curious to see where the Midwest is in relation to the spreadsheet, because right now it's like a huge log jam of teams vying for positioning. So this battle will be very crucial in determining where teams will end up. So right here, the Cinderace comes in, gets another U-turn, he's chipping a Rotom down. It's probably going to U-turn right into that Slowking Galar, as we're probably going to see a Volt Switch from the Rotom. So we've seen this little game a few times. So we do see a Volt Switch from the Rotom, but Keo makes a little play, and like I said, he's kind of have to make these plays because his team's kind of at a deficit. So he makes a little play into Great Test, trying to do a little mind games, trying to get a little momentum. And then so we see a paralysis coming out onto the Slowking, as Rotom is just chipping away with the Hydro Pumps. The next Hydro Pump is at risk of taking the Slowking out, and it does take the Slowking out. Rotom is earning its pay right now. Rotom is really putting in that work and just kind of chipping away at Keo's team. It's kind of been at half health for like 10 turns just because the Cinderace can't really chip it. The big out I see for Keo right now, and probably where his focus is on King Gambit. I think that King Gambit, depending on his Terra type, it could definitely reverse engineer and sweep, but this Rotom will be very annoying because the Rotom has Thunder Wave, meaning that he's gonna Thunder Wave this King Gambit, and there's nothing really the Gambit can do about it because the Rotom is faster. If the Gambit gets Thunder Wave, its chances of sweeping get a little bit more murky. But he probably feels like he doesn't really have an option at this point. I'm surprised actually. Why did an Amorous come out? Probably because of Slowking Galar. King Gambit is like his best way of forcing the momentum. And then as well, he's gonna need the low kick. The low kick is gonna be necessary. But Lax also has his Terra available as well. So Lax can always be thinking about Terraing himself. So this turn is probably one of the most crucial ones in the game. You gotta make this play. Lax goes for a low kick into the Great Test. It actually does a significant amount of chip. It won't like taking too many more of those. But he does get the Great Tusk into the King Gambit, and he does have the Ice Spinner, which makes you think he does have CC as well. He does reveal the knockoff here, though. He reveals knockoff and knock off the Rotom's leftovers, which means the Rotom only has one turn left. What is he going to do here? Are we going to see a T-Wave from the Rotom onto the King Gambit? That's the only thing that's really taking a hit. Is the Great Tusk also going to be faster than the Rotom? That's something else you want to consider. So that's kind of probably what Kyo is thinking about. What do you want to go into here on the Rotom's last turn? Does Lax even think about doubling here too in order to preserve the sack for the Rotom? He does indeed double to preserve the sack, and he goes into Slowking Galar. And probably as a sponge to anything he wants to go to, he's probably got it calced out to where he can see that it can even survive the Earthquake from Great Tusk. That Blaze Powerball does a significant amount of damage, but he is able to go out into the Sneasler, which is going to be 2 points faster than the Cinderace at 372 as opposed to 370 speed. And Sneasler is just going to come in and start sneaseling all over the place. It's going to sneasel a close combat onto Kyo's team. Close combat does some pretty good damage, but Great Tusk honestly eats that up. I don't even think he can go into an Amorous here, because an Amorous is going to get 2-hit KO'd, even despite 4 times resisting, because an Amorous isn't really physically bulky, but it kind of has a lot of, offensive power. He is able to go into an Amorous here, but like I said, he was kind of scared of bringing in the Amorous earlier because it doesn't really do anything to the Slowking Galar. Which makes me I was trying out this Amorous one time where it was like Superpower and then it was Terra Blast Ground, because when you go for a Superpower, the Terra Blast Ground becomes physical. So you can muscle past things like Slowking Galar. But I guess the only problem here would be like Amoonguss in that case. Yeah. Alright, so we see right here we have King Gambit. We had a Sword Stance, and then we see the low kick into the Terra Fairy. And then, like I said, Kyo's King Gambit was his keys to victory here. And then now we see the Sneasler come out. The Sneasler is going to be making good use of the Dire Claw. It seems like Lax's own King Gambit doesn't have like an Iron Head or anything. So the Terra Fairy is really good. And Sneasler goes for the Dire Claw. It only does 64%, which I'm actually King Gambit is impressive Pokemon. Landorus comes out. We have seen this Landorus to be substitute, so I'm curious to see this Earthquake even knock it out from here, in which case you would go for Sucker Punch. But it's kind of like almost even a 50-50 at this point. So we'll see what Kyo does. I know Kyo really wants to get this win for the US Midwest, and this is coming down to a very pivotal turn. He pivots out into Cinderace onto the substitute. Very interesting. I imagine what he's thinking is that if he can somehow eliminate the Landorus and get the Landorus into a lower position, King Gambit is going to have the opportunity to come back in and win later on. Because as we saw, King Gambit, or for Lax, cannot touch the Terra Fairy King Gambit from Kyo. And then Lax is also just uses Terra to turn into a water type. Right here, we may see a double come in from Kyo. He opts to go into King Gambit, and he has the Healing Wish. He has the Healing Wish onto the King Gambit, and now he's fallen 5 King Gambit. a swords dance here could bring it back for Kyo. Kyo is trying to finesse this the best he can. Lax right here, he's gonna need to pull out like maybe an Iron Head. He's gonna have to pull out something. And also may come down to some sucker punch mind games too, because you always gotta think with that substitute Lando, very threatening set that we've seen a few times here. That substitute Lando could also get a substitute up, but that King Gambit is so strong right now that you don't even know what it could do. It's so much health that even Lando, I don't think it'll do too much. And the Kowtow takes it out. That Fallen 5 Kowtow is so powerful, it just knocks the King Gambit out. And he didn't take a lot of damage. He didn't take a lot. So Lando will probably come in here, have to Earthquake. I don't believe it'll take the Gambit out. And then Gambit, it will just Kowtow twice. So King Gambit does it again. What can you say? It's just one of the best mods. Yeah, Lax is pretty salty about that, understandably so. That Powerball miss really did set him back. He was going to take out that Cinderace, which came in to be key. But that's just unfortunately the way Pokemon goes sometimes. You just gotta play for the love, because sometimes the game won't love you. Alright, and then, so we can see here, US Midwest, they are coming correct. Like, a lot of positive records, and Kyo securing a big W there, putting them at 13-9 securely in the playoffs. United States Northeast, they needed that game. They needed that game because we can see that logjam right here. There's all these teams with 11 wins. And Oceania securely in the 7th spot right now. Belgium taking a loss. United Kingdom, US South, and Italy are in the driver's seat for that 11th position. But it will be a photo finish. And like I said, Jsaok, I'm coming here to bring you as many games as I can. So hopefully we will get some more soon. So I'll see you later.